hear me? For the best in music, best in entertainment. See in a junior system. So hear this. Breaking bread with the bread man. The bread man. Take.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Bread with Breadman. I'm your host, Breadman, and today we're going to dive into a topic that I find incredibly important in my life, and I believe is incredibly relevant to all of us. And that is the importance of being mindful in everyday life. With the fast-paced life that most of us live in, it's easy to get lost in the noise. The deadlines, the endless to-do lists, and just the constant notifications. But what if I tell you that there's a way that you can navigate through all of this with a sense of calm and clarity? And that's where mindfulness comes in. Now, what exactly is mindfulness? The concept of mindfulness at its core, it's about being present in the moment, being fully engaged in whatever you're doing and not having any judgment on it, just accepting the reality of what your situation is at this point in time. That is what mindfulness is. Sometimes we get a little sidetracked where we're dwelling in the past and we're constantly reminiscing about past anecdotes and past situations that we've been through, and that seems to sometimes hinder us from what we need to do today. Maybe out of fear of what happened before, it might happen again, so we might not go down that path. But being mindfulness is assessing your situation of where you are right now. Forget about the judgments of the past. Forget about the judgments of even what you want for the future. Look at the matter at hand and tackle it as you see it. Be fully aware of what you're in. Now, it's a simple concept, but it's a concept that can affect your well-being in a very, very profound way. Research has shown that practicing mindfulness in your everyday life can reduce stress, improve your mental health, and enhance your overall quality of life. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the science behind mindfulness, behind thinking mindful in your everyday life. There is science behind this. Our brains is constantly processing information. And this could lead to what is called as a cognitive overload or brain fog. I know we've all felt that situation, that feeling where it's just like you can't get a clear thought out. It's like your mind is running a mile a minute in many different directions. But when we practice mindfulness, we activate the prefrontal cortex of our brain. Now, that's the part of your brain that's responsible for decision making and emotional regulation. This helps us respond to situations more thoughtfully rather than acting impulsively. Now, studies have found that regular practice of mindfulness in your everyday can actually change the structure of your brain. Regular practice increases gray matter in the parts of your brain associated with memory, learning, and emotional regulation. And it decreases gray matter in the amygdala. That's the part of your brain that's associated with stress and anxiety. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I practice mindfulness in my everyday life? And you know what? Here's a few examples. Take a few moments out of each day to practice some breathing exercises. You can start by inhaling deeply through your nose, hold it, and then exhale slowly through your mouth. Now, continuous practice of this, it kind of gets your body and mind into like a nice grounded state. Another practice of mindfulness is mindful eating. Now, when we eat, sometimes we do it on autopilot. A lot of things are done on autopilot. And sometimes you just have the food in front of you and you eat, and you're thinking about maybe you're on social media while you're eating, or you're talking to a person while you're eating, and you're not really focusing on what you're eating. But one of the things that we can practice is mindful eating. And mindful eating is actually engaging in what you're eating, realizing what's on the plate, what's it going to do for you. Is this beneficial to me, or is this just junk? And even savoring each taste, savoring the texture of the food, and even realizing when your brain is even saying that, okay, I've had enough. Sometimes we pass that. Most of us pass that. And we just eat to finish what's on the plate, not eat to when we're full. And that's why most of us overeat. I'm guilty of that. I'm not even going to lie. I'm guilty of that. But starting to practice mindfulness with your eating, it starts to build It's a way of building a healthier relationship with your food. Digital detox. Now, I know you're watching this video most likely on some kind of social media platform, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. But too much of this social media and this whole media in general is not really good for us. Sometimes you need to detox yourself from that also. And the way you could practice that is set aside some time each day to digitally detox, like I said. Just turn all your devices off, get fully disconnected from these devices, and take that time out to do something like maybe read, walk, or even just sit down and really reflect on your thoughts and where you are in life. Gratitude. A gratitude journal is a very good thing. Sometimes you, just by writing down the things that you're thankful in your life, in your present, it really puts things in perspective. One you could do is like each day, write down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. This practice, it can shift your thought process more from the negative things in your life and more about the positive things that's going on in your life, which will be very beneficial for you mentally and physically. Mindful movements, whether it's yoga, tai chi, or even a walk. Mindful movement is another way for you to connect your mind and your body. Really get an assessment of what you're feeling, what aches and pains are through your body that you need to work through, being mindful of that situation. Now, I'd like to share like a personal story about how being mindful in my everyday life changed my life. A few years back, I lost my mother, and the few months after the funeral and everything was settled, I found myself in a state where it's just like I was on autopilot. I wasn't focused on anything that I was doing, whether it be work or even sometimes even the relationships in my life. I was just going through life on cruise control. That's what it felt like to me. Until I started practicing mindfulness, and that got me back grounded into my life and the things that I needed to do and I needed to start and take care of. It got me out of that rut, that whole grieving process. It helped me get a grip on my grieving process and able to process it in a more healthy way so that I can move on with my life. And it all started with just like a few, like I said, walks. I started taking walks in the park, walks around the track, being more mindful, and even like meditating. Sometimes I would just sit and admire nature and be more mindful in the present, put myself in the present and really assess what's going on and realize that I'm a point in my life right now. This is part of life. You're going to have your loved ones they're going to pass, and this is part of life. And I can't really dwell there because life goes on. And it sounds cliche, but sometimes you have to be mindful for it to actually register in your head what you need to do in the present. And when I started practicing that, I did notice like a certain shift. I started being less reactive, a little bit more focused on the things that I was doing. And I felt like a deeper sense of like peace within my life. Now, it's not always easy. And there's still some times when I still struggle with this. But what I've realized is by practicing mindfulness in my life, it has given me like a very important tool in my toolkit that I use to navigate through life's ups and downs, which are always going to be there. As we wrap up today's episode about mindfulness, I want you guys to take a little time out of your day and try to practice mindfulness in like your everyday routine. And remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being progressive. Being in the now and realizing what the now entails. No judgment at all. Just realize, assess your situation, where you are right now, and what needs to be done now. And thank you very much for joining me today on another episode of Breaking Bread. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the channel and give me a like if you like the episode also. And leave a comment. I would love to read some of your comments about how mindfulness has affected you or what the practice of mindfulness is, how it's changed your life. Until next time, stay positive and you will be blessed. And until the next episode, peace.
Bread man, make yourself your life is not a dead man.